Something new is happening on planet Earth, big enough to be seen from space. Hotspots, buzzing with the energy of millions of people. For the first time in human history, more of us live in cities than in the country. But these are cities on a different scale. In just 50 years, we've seen the birth, the growth, and now the dominance of the megacity. Sprawling, seething, noisy, polluted, crammed with 10 million, 15, sometimes even 30 million people. These cities are complicated, fragile places, constantly on the edge. These are places overcrowding, squalor. But these are also the most exciting places on the Earth, brim with optimism and fun and energy. Love them or loathe them, fear them or embrace them, the megacities are the human future of the planet.
What is the great story of our times? It's migration, the emptying of countryside, villages and small towns into the great cities, the tramp of billions of people. One of the biggest gambles the human race has taken. In this programme, I'm going to be talking to some of the winners.
See what you mean about the view? Good grief. 9 million quid. Wow.
And the losers.
What's this? So this is a government notice saying get out before a certain date.
I'll be living in the middle of sprawling slums.
It's about 1:30 in the morning now, and I'm eaten alive by mosquitoes.
Where filth and friendliness live side by side.
Mr. Bean!
I'll climb the mighty new fingers of the metropolis.
This is London's way of saying to people, look at me, come to me.
I'll take a bird's eye view of cities that just can't stop growing.
It just goes on forever without form or shape.
But I'll also ask whether an ultra-slick and efficient megacity sucks the life out of its people.
Who'd want to live in a city with no sense of its own past? I wouldn't.
And find out if the secret of a really successful metropolis means we all need to bring the village into the city.
I've got too many friends!
There are now 21 cities we can properly call mega. That is, they have a population of more than 10 million people. All of them are relentlessly changing and shifting and, above all, growing, and there are plenty more on the way. Over the course of this series, I'm going to be journeying to 5 of the world's key megacities. Shanghai would like to think of itself as the new capital of the world. Right now, the most dynamic megacity on the planet, sprawling sideways and sprouting upwards. Dakar, where 500,000 new migrants arrive every year, a place of poverty, pollution and transport chaos. So vulnerable to flood and disease, it could be the first megacity to have to be evacuated. Tokyo, which is still the largest city on the Earth, 33 million people jammed into the ultimate high-tech urban hive. And London, the grand old man of megacities, with lots to learn from the new generations and something to teach them too. And last of all, Mexico City, one of the most dangerous cities in the world, but for my money, one of the most enjoyable as well, brimming with surprises. This story, though, doesn't begin in the city at all, but tens, if not hundreds of miles away, out in the countryside.
All around the world, people are hearing the summons. But this is nothing to do with religion. They are answering the call of the city. Imagine you're a peasant farmer and you're leaving the place that you're known and that you know and going to somewhere where you're unknown. And yet, in their tens of millions, people are turning their backs on all of this and going in one direction only, to the city.
By 2050, the world's cities will absorb over 3 billion people, and the population in the countryside will stop growing. By then, 70% of the world will live in cities, and by the end of the century, 3/4 of the entire planet will be urban. This will mark the end of the biggest shift in human civilization since the birth of agriculture. And why are these people going? For the promise of a better life, wealth, even luxury.
I don't know if the streets of the megacities are exactly paved with gold, but they are splattered with posh brands and adverts selling, in essence, a better tomorrow. And so they act like huge magnets every day. They bring tens of thousands of people, either driven by desperation or lured by optimism. And of course, for a lot of them, it never happens. They stay stuck on the edges, living a pretty miserable life. But hundreds of thousands do make the jump, and they start to climb the ladder of opportunity and get at least a bit of what they hoped for. They're never the same afterwards.
In Shanghai, at the top of one of those ladders, is Tang Jung. The transformative power of the megacities worked for him. He's one of the winners. His parents were humble workers. Now he is Shanghai's richest man. He's made his money from the millions of people in the city seeking entertainment. Shanghai is the karaoke bar capital of the world. Tang is its emperor.
I invented some of the cool kind of idea stuff. For example, you sing karaoke. You know karaoke.
Yes,
and I invented one very unique kind of system. Once you sing karaoke, and the system will tell you how good you are. Just basically give you the score.
Yeah.
I call it a karaoke score machine.
So it was an electronic Simon Cowell.
Exactly. And so I earned first part of my, in my life, the money.
Yeah.
I earned money from Samsung, and then I founded my own, the computer company there. When I came back to Shanghai in 1997.
So what was Shanghai looking like then? None of these skyscrapers?
No, not at all. You didn't see any kind of high-priced buildings here in Shanghai.
So just 10 years.
It is
astonishing story.
Even to me, I've been living in Shanghai for 13 years.
Yeah.
Shanghai is changing almost like a weekly or monthly base.
Tang is the top of the megacity pile, but he's not unique. Shanghai has over 7,000 billionaires. I'm going to say that again. 7,000 billionaires. It's the fastest growing city on the planet. If the skyscraper is the ultimate symbol of a city trying to tell you it's arrived, well, Shanghai is screaming. It makes Manhattan look a little dull.
Wow. Oh, wow. This is absolutely astonishing. This is the first time I've seen Shanghai from this high up, and it is breathtaking. It's a sort of, it's like a German forest of skyscrapers. They're sprouting almost as you look at them, and the minute you see one that you're told is the tallest, and some of them look like they've been badly drawn in the wrong perspective because they are just dizzyingly, unsettlingly big. And apparently there's a much, much bigger one just arriving which is going to dwarf those. People say, apparently, that Shanghai is the new capital of the world, which sounds a bit over the top until you've been at the top and looked down and it starts to make sense.
These things are being built with bamboo scaffolding and armies of people who were once tending rice paddies and are now planting steel and glass instead. Just 30 years ago, there were 121 buildings over 8 stories here. Now there are more than 10,000. Skyscraper fever. And it's not just Shanghai that's infected.
I am currently at the highest point of the highest building site in Europe. Just one of the extraordinary new skyscrapers, leaping out of the urban clutter below them all round the world. This is the Shard in London, and when it's completed, it'll be the highest building in the European Union. This is London's way of establishing its power as the major megacity in its bit of the world. Look at me! These skyscrapers are packages of money, technical brilliance, engineering and imagination. They are the beacons, the lighthouses of the modern megacities, saying to people all around the world, hey, hey, come to me.
The megacities' frantic gorging on materials, innovation and change is happening in front of our very eyes. The Shard will rise to 1,016 feet. And it's growing at a phenomenal Jack and the Beanstalk pace. Every 2 weeks, 3 floors are added and eventually there'll be 87 of them. When you're building a building this high, there's one piece of kit you can't do without, of course. Taller than the skyscraper itself, the crane. Take a look above you and you will spot the unsung heroes of the skyscraper world, the people who spend their working lives dangling up in the air. And getting to meet one of them means I have a rather serious morning's walk to work.
It's unsettlingly open. Good God. I hope I never have to climb up a ladder that's longer than that one. I'm up here to talk to John Young, one of the crane drivers who's building this extraordinary place. Apart from anything else, just to find out how he does it. Hi, John. It is an amazing site up here. Is there a sort of big sense of pride in doing this job?
Yeah, you're never tired of the view, Andrew, you know. You can be in a job for a year, 2 years.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden recognise things that you never knew were there before. You know, you can never tire of the view, especially at night time when the lights come on.
Yeah, fantastic.
Working at these extreme heights means the operators often have to work blind, delicately shifting around tons of steel with the help of a team hundreds of feet below them.
OK, John, fast as you like, horse it up. So John, keep blasting her up. Just give her a little tap round here right now on the wheel, please, John. And horse her up, fast as you like. Keep going up, keep tapping left.
As the Shard keeps growing, so do the cranes have to grow because they have to be even taller.
We're incredibly high up.
Yeah.
Is this as high as you go now?
No, this is only half the height.
You're going to go twice as high?
Oh, twice as high. So we have to what we call jump the crane, climb it ourselves, section by section.
So you build the crane
Yeah,
from inside the
from
crane?
inside, yeah. Yeah.
And there's a certain amount of anxiety when that happens?
Well, there's always a handshake before we let them bolts go.
Handshake first?
Yeah, handshake first.
Just in case the worst happens?
Yeah, let's do the job properly.
And that's seriously dangerous?
Yeah, seriously. The most dangerous job you can undertake in construction is the jumping of a tower crane.
Building the Shard's a global operation. It sucks in components from all around the world. Lifts from Finland, doors from Malaysia, and believe it or not, the toilets are from Scotland. Renzo Piano, the architect behind the Shard, is selling this dream as a city in the sky, home to offices and restaurants and hotels. On the outside, this will be a towering expression of the megacity's glittering "Come to me," written in glass.
One of the big differences between the new skyscrapers is what they're saying and how they're saying it. If you look over there at an older building, a great, heavy, aggressive lump of concrete, it's about a city which is sort of rather dour and old-fashioned and heavy. These buildings, as we're seeing, are all glass. It's all light and it's all airy. And at some level, it's meant to suggest that anyone can rise to any position. Everything is transparent.
The crews putting in the windows are on a tight schedule. They have to put in 20 of these monsters every day. By the time this building's finished, this glass shard will be covered from top to bottom with 11,000 panes of glass.
Think of these big projects as being entirely routine. It's obviously not. It's actually still about human muscle and skill.
This guy's going to get out here now through the fencing to just to lock that into position.
Tiny errors here are very dangerous and very, very expensive.
Installation-wise, this here wing wall is definitely the trickiest because you're just totally out of the building, you know.
So you're leaning so far out.
Leaning out, yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously you want the guys to be safe, you know.
These vertical cities don't come cheap. The total cost of the Shard will be more than £1 billion, and at its top, a series of incredible luxury apartments.
Aztecs, cathedrals, the Eiffel Tower in Manhattan. Powerful people have always tried to build as high as they can because they can. But who goes into these buildings? No gods or emperors here. Yet one thing hasn't changed. Around the world, the most spectacular buildings, the real jaw-droppers, gobsmackers, still tend to have the rich right at the top.
Back in Shanghai, inside the concrete and glass forests are the swanky penthouses and multinational HQs.
This way.
Andy Lau is estate agent to the super rich. Business is booming.
This unit is about 900 square meter.
Wow.
Okay, and it's a 4+1 apartment. As you can see, it has a very high ceiling. This is what we call the double volume.
It's wonderful, yeah.
This is something that, you know, you have to see.
Good grief.
You have the best of Shanghai.
That is
Yeah.
a view. I'm tempted. I might well be a buyer, but one small, tiny little issue I need to ask you about.
No worries, nothing is a problem.
The price.
Okay, the price...
Nothing is a problem. For, you know, the top wealthiest people in Shanghai, getting a grand apartment with a lovely view, what sort of money are they going to be paying, do you reckon?
Okay, I think in the market, if you're talking about really super luxury property, there will be about 90 million.
90 million RMB, which is about £9 million.
Thereabouts.
9 million quid. Wow. I might have to go back and have a little word with my bank manager first. Just, you know, chat, sort of, you know, before I actually sign the cheque.
No problem. You know, anytime, just give me a call. You know, we can work this out.
But the skyline of the megacity isn't all sleek concrete. Welcome to Dhaka in Bangladesh, in all its unstructured, unregulated glory. Not only are 12 million people already living here, there's 500,000 new arrivals from the countryside pouring in every year. That's like a city the size of Liverpool moving in next door. Whatever the dream of a better life, many people start here in the slums. It's estimated that the Dhaka slums are home to 4 million people. It might seem vast and daunting, but when you're on the ground in this place, you discover that it's still highly organised.
So this is a slum, like thousands around the world. It's a slum, however, not a dump. It's complicated, well organised. Television area there where they're watching the cricket. Firewood store. There's a school down here. Hairdresser shop. Cigarette shop.
Just like Shanghai, this place has its own social structure.
One thing I've noticed, wherever you are in the world, if you come to a new city and you're trying to find where the posh bits, the better off bits are, there are a couple of infallible signs. One is better roads, a better class of road work. And the other, trees, greenery. The more greenery, by and large, the better off. And it seems to be the case even in the slum.
The houses might be made from plasterboard and discarded wood. It doesn't mean that their owners can't make them very comfortable. Sohil and his family have been here for 15 years. He's made a life for himself in the slum, and he's decided to stay here.
So this is a lovely house. You've got lots of lovely things here.
Thank you.
It's not what people would expect from being the inside of a slum house.
We're very proud to be living like this. We built this ourselves, supported ourselves, and supported our family. We have everything we need to live.
Could you just tell me a little bit about this community, this area? About how many people would you reckon, how many families are living here now?
10,000 people live in this slum.
10,000 people, that's a lot of, yeah. It's a proper-sized town, isn't it? Yeah.
But for many of the 10,000 people in this particular slum, conditions are a lot less comfortable.
This way, we've got to go this way, okay?
Just round the corner, 14-year-old Musharraf and his family are putting me up for the night.
So you've only been speaking English for 2 years?
Yeah.
That's amazing. You're very good. You're really good at it. That's fantastic.
Musharraf was a slum dog, a street hawker, until 2 years ago when a charity helped to pay for his education. He's very bright, but the conditions he lives in are still pretty daunting.
If you want to take bath, there is a well.
That's the bath?
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the bath.
That is the toilet.
Down that way?
Yeah, that way.
Okay, I better just dump.
Okay.
God, straight into the lake.
Straight into the lake. And this is the room where we're gonna live.
Oh, it's a big house.
Big house, because lots of people are living here, eh?
Yeah.
Almost 9.
9 people are living in
That's
here.
why it's a big room, yeah?
Yeah, 9 people are living here.
Let's get out and we can get ready for our cook.
Get ready for our cooking, yes.
With my sleeping quarters sorted, we're off to buy dinner in the market, which is the hub of the community.
What's this?
It's dry fish.
I don't know. No, I think not.
I don't know.
Chili, maybe.
Chili.
Garlic, yeah.
And onion.
Garlic,
onion. Thank you. Big shopping.
Yeah.
Cross the road.
Okay.
So to cook the dinner, we're going to need some water, obviously, but the nearest pump's a mile away.
Maybe it's a little bit hard for you to carry.
Well, no, it's all right. I've got to kind of experience the full thing.
Can I help you?
No, it's
maybe.
fine, Musharraf.
Just give it to
It's
me.
fine. No.
We both can take it.
No.
No, okay.
Honestly. There we go. Look.
Not
That's
like
better.
this. Not
That's
like this.
better. What's wrong with that?
Just with me.
What's wrong with that?
No.
Come
Just
on. What do you
push.
do?
Yeah, like this. Just
Yeah.
carry like this.
Like this?
Like this.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Oh, between the two of us?
Yes.
All right, OK. Shared labour.
Musharraf's a remarkable boy. The more so, I thought, after I'd asked him how he landed here.
So, Musharraf, a bit about your family. Where did they come from?
First, when I was 4 years old, we were in the village.
Yeah.
And then there were some problems.
What
Yeah,
problems?
we lost our lands and we moved to Dhaka. 1998, the biggest flood of Bangladesh. It happened, and so.
The worst flood?
Yeah, worst flood.
So did you lose everything? Did the family lose everything then?
Yes. And then we moved to another place. One day, all slums were burning.
The homes were burned down?
Yeah, burned.
And how was that because of an accident or?
It's accident.
So this is the fourth slum?
Fourth slum.
Fourth slum you
This
lived
is the
in?
last slum.
Last slum. A lot's happened to you and you're just 13?
Yeah. I'm 14.
14, sorry, I beg your pardon. How old do you think I am?
45.
45, that'll do.
How?
50.
50, almost near.
Here they cook with clever stoves they've dug out of the earth. They have only one knife, and they cook better than most television chefs.
No.
No? No.
No.
That's one next. Okay.
And embarrassingly, it seems I'm a dead ringer for somebody else off the box.
Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean? I'm Mr.
Looking
Bean.
like Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean.
She says I'm Mr. Bean.
Fair point. And after darkness falls, they watch television, with electricity expertly nicked from the official grid. But it's still a long way from the posh end of the slums.
I'm Khadi. I'm Khadi. I'm sure.
Okay. You're better at it than me. Yeah. It's very good. He's struggling now.
It's too hot.
It's very hot.
No, Musharraf.
Okay. I think it's time for me to go to bed.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted. It's been a long, long day. And one last... Oh, and I get my hands washed as well. No. I'm going to spend the rest of the night here in one of the shacks in the slum and say goodbye now. Good night to the camera crew. There they are. Good night, camera crew.
See you in the morning.
Night, off you go.
It's about 1:30 in the morning now, and I'm eaten alive by mosquitoes. I've put on all sorts of stuff and got mosquito net, and it's absolutely no difference at all. I'm just covered in bites, and they're keeping on going. There's also some very large rats just underneath me. I've spotted them, more like the size of cats, I would say, and cockroaches as well.
And the rats are a doddle compared with nipping out for a pee.
This is the slightly forbidding looking toilet. Not really forbidding, I think pretty difficult underfoot, if I can put it that way. There we are. The main thing, first thing, is not to drop either of my sandals down the hole. You don't really want to see the next bit.
I might be in a city of more than 13 million people, but it feels a lot smaller.
And it's the deep dead of night now, just the occasional muttering and coughing of dog barking. And I'm wondering how many of these people are really city dwellers at all. They seem bound together by close ties of mutual obligation, family ties, simply looking out for each other and each other's children. I think the village is the natural unit, and perhaps every megacity is like a huge body crammed with millions of ghostly villages, of which this is just one.
Dawn, and the cycle of the slum continues.
One thing, I suppose,
we think we know about slum dwellers is that they are the passive, put-upon victims of the modern city. Well, if one thing is clear from being here for a short time, it's that these people may be victims, but they're not passive. They work fantastically hard. They are resourceful and full of ingenuity, simply getting together the fuel and the food to keep themselves going, keeping these structures upright, looking after the children, running little schools, and then going to work for long and back-breaking days is an extraordinary human achievement.
You all want me as a guest again.
I'll be back.
Again. Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean comes back. Mr. Bean comes back. All right. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Mr. Bean. Bye-bye.
We're missing you so much. Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Good, tough people. But this is still a rotten city. It's a lesson in how not to run our urban futures. The trouble is, when you build a shiny new metropolis, knocking down the slums, you can end up destroying places where real communities still hang on. Back in Shanghai, I carried round a little book to try to learn some of the basic Chinese characters, but I soon began to wonder if they had words for heritage and conservation. So here we are in old Shanghai, but many of the buildings here have a kind of plague symbol stamped on them. This means simply one word: demolish. 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 And so on. Don't need a symbol that side anymore. Demolish. But here is a rather nice new building, or at least a new building, newish. I think it's a school. So that's all right then. Oh no. Demolish. The massive rebuilding program ordered by the Chinese authorities requires the residents of Shanghai's Old Town to be relocated by order. What's this? Can he explain what this is?
Government notice.
Government notice.
Yeah.
Saying
that you should move before a certain date.
Right. So this is a government notice saying get out before a certain date, or presumably your house will be knocked down anyway.
Yeah, you should move out by a certain date.
And you got that one, yeah.
They are not happy with the policy, like the house they are supposed to get. It's very far away.
Oh, that's interesting. So they're being moved a long way away, and this is their home here.
Yeah.
In theory, such is the fear about speaking out against the government, we were firmly told nobody would say a word with a camera nearby. Well, cheeringly, plenty of people were eager to talk. They seem a direct and stroppy lot, the Shanghai locals. We talked to a lot of people who suddenly congregated, and they were very angry and upset that they were being forcibly moved. And one of them is now leading us to see his house. Thank you. Just like in Dakar, these houses might look grim, but they are homes.
There are 6 people registered in this address.
6 people? Goodness, huh?
But
that was that him? His marriage photograph, or was that?
20 years ago.
20 years ago, so yeah. He's a Shanghai man, yeah?
Grow up here.
Yeah, I understand. For the old residents, this big land grab means being kicked out of your home and your neighbourhood. But many people are being provided with new homes and hot running water and toilets for the first time in their lives. They're being relocated here, on vast new estates mushrooming on the edge of the city. 100,000 new homes being built here every month. Xiong and his wife Ni have just picked up the keys to their new flat.
Oh, I love the lights, yes.
这是厨房
Kitchen, yeah.
书房
Everything is absolutely new. And how does this compare with their old house?
和以前住的老房子比，
是另外一套，
有两套。
因为他结婚了，肚子保有保。
Now they used to live with their son in the 20 square meter room. Now they have two apartments. This apartment is belong to the couple, and their son is married, and his wife is pregnant, and they're expecting a baby.
为了政府嘛，造地铁。
They moved for the construction of a metro line, Line 13.
So they had to move, and they were given this instead, or they were able to buy this instead.
10万户，这里上海市过来10万户，
In all, there will be 100,000 families moving here. In this
100,000 families? Happy people.
It's really nice. It's a bit like a salty sesame pita bread kind of thing. Nice.
I've just been walking around and looking at the street food and the stalls and the markets and the neighbours chatting and kids running around. And I feel that it's very sad. And then I ask myself, is this simply kind of soppy, sentimental? Is it in some way merely, I suppose, decadent? You know, to say, but wasn't it lovely? Wasn't it pretty? Wasn't it different? Wasn't it special? It's really, really hard to make a judgment about this because for a lot of people, this is the best thing that has ever happened to them.
There are lessons to be learned in trying to house the citizens of a metropolis. This kind of mass living does bring huge new challenges. In Tokyo, which is the most advanced megacity in the world, they're struggling with where to put 33 million people, and that's transforming how they live.
If we're looking for answers, one place we might try is the great granddaddy of megacities. Tokyo is so big, it makes the world's other megacities look almost modest. But this gargantuan structure is built up of very small cells.
Take a bird's eye view, and down below you'll see football pitches, playgrounds, even driving schools constructed on top of buildings. Living here comes at a cost. Property prices are so exorbitant, and space is so short that it's changing what people expect a home to be. These flats are built on the same area it would take to park just 2 cars, but they provide homes for 6 people, each living in 25 square metre boxes.
My goodness me. It's not very big. A bed. And not much, washing machine. I have a horrible feeling this is the kitchen. It's more like a little cupboard, but there's, and there's, come and look at this. This is good. About as small a basin as you can imagine. And a small, and it has to be said, very public bath. I would feel like a kind of nude frog in a box. Nasty thought. I suppose there's sort of blinds of some kind. Yeah, there's blinds of some kind, but still, it's basically a small walkway with glass all around it, and not much else. I mean, how you're supposed to? I suppose you can boil a kettle here, but not much else, I'd have thought. There's one thing that's strangely missing. I don't want to be too personal about this, but there isn't, for instance, I can tell a toilet at all. Unless it's here. Oh, yes, there is. And here it is. This is really deeply weird. I've been in some small places in my time. I've seen a few small flats, but this is just like the shaving or corner of a flat. I suppose I could live here. Anyone could live here. It would be very depressing, I think. I would go bonkers very quickly. I think actually I would prefer to be in that sort of shack in the slum in Dhaka in Bangladesh, you know, because your feet are at least on the ground, there's bits of green, and there's people, and there's noise, and, you know, a bit of human merriment about. And this is just bleak, isn't it, really?
Tokyo is the embodiment of the highly efficient, slick, uber-modern city. For some people, it's the incarnation of the metropolis of the coming century, the megacity that runs like digital clockwork. Take the super-efficient, automated subway that's able to shift nearly 8 million people every day. This is a system so well organised that on rare occasions, when it does mess up, nobody believes you.
Do you want to know how good the Tokyo train system is? If you fail to turn up for work on time, you say, really sorry, train was late. You have to provide special written proof from the train company because it is, frankly, so unthinkable.
Unlike communist Shanghai, capitalist Tokyo is one of the most equal cities in the world. It's got very little poverty or homelessness. Crime levels are very low. There's almost no gun crime at all. It can be a mesmerising and enthralling city, a bit like an old sci-fi comic come to life. But there's a price to pay, so much of it looks exactly the same. There's a mechanical coldness and an unsettling robotic uniformity. Maybe I was just in a bad mood, but I found myself searching for corners of friendliness and normality. Some Tokyo dwellers feel just the same. Falling between the cracks of this highly rigid, pressurized society is a weird and growing phenomenon. The hikikomori, reclusive individuals who've totally withdrawn from social life and turned their backs on Tokyo. Rarely, sometimes never, venturing outside the confines of their homes, they are unable to face up to life in this city.
I started to become reclusive in the 4th year of primary school. I was the kind of kid who got teased. At home, I'd mostly watch TV or just mope around. My links with the outside world were completely cut off, and with the loss of those links, I became reclusive.
28-year-old Ugo barely left his bedroom for 13 years.
Since I couldn't go out of the house myself anymore, I just kept ordering things from my parents. Things I wanted to eat, get, watch. My parents would fetch them all for me.
The alienating megacity that forces people like Ugo into his bedroom is spawning a strange new business. You can now rent people. Not for sex, simply for friendship. Today I'm meeting Yuhei.
Aha, my friend. Yuhei. It's great pleasure to see you. Ah, nice to see you as well.
He rents himself out to the lonely. Yuhei's promised me a surprise, something to remind me of Scotland, but also something very Tokyo. Golf in the sky.
Japanese, eh? Play golf anywhere. Now what happens? Oh, What sort of people, hire you?
Usually I go to the wedding as a wedding guest.
And that's somebody who doesn't have enough friends of their own, maybe. They want somebody to,
Yeah, maybe, yes, yeah. Oh.
It's not just weddings they get hired for. One of the popular jobs for these renter friends is to accompany people to bars after work to show colleagues that they're popular and interesting.
It's a very funny business, isn't it?
Yes, because not many Japanese people want to tell true thing to others,
They're quite private, you think?
Quite private, yeah.
Oh, that's good. Excellent. Renting a friend because you haven't got a friend is a really bizarre, unsettling idea. Weird, beyond belief. And it does say something about a city like this where people can be so lonely that purely to get some human companionship, to have someone alongside them, not to lose face, they have to pay. I mean, it's just very sad, actually.
All round the world, different megacities struggle to get this tricky balance right between community and warmth on the one hand and efficiency on the other. If you want a contrast with Tokyo, welcome to Mexico City. A colourful and dangerous sprawl of around 20 million people where life on almost every level is lived on the street.
The thing about seeing Mexico City like this, floating just a few hundred yards, or 20 or 30 yards above it, is that it just goes on forever without form or shape. So it's like an incrustation or an invasion on the land below. The only places that are untouched are where the slopes are so steep that the builders simply can't get there.
If Mexico City's 2.5-hour commute in choking car fumes doesn't kill you, then the spiralling crime rate might. Let's make no bones about this, this is a dangerous place. There are 3 murders in the city every week and an estimated 500 kidnaps a month in the country. When you take to the air, you can see a yawning social divide. It's much more unequal than Tokyo. Here are penthouse suites closed off behind razor wire on one hillside and vast barrios of slum housing clinging to another. At night, there's an edgy feel to the streets. You're never quite sure what's going to happen. A lot of the city is controlled by gangs. But this is also an exuberant place. A city that's not being told what to do, and whose citizens live life to the full on the streets, amongst one another. Countless mariachi bands stroll the boulevards and squares playing songs for money. They're not here for the tourists. They're proud of their music for reasons that seem to my ears a little bit obscure.
So many to choose from, so many different bands, and an impossible choice.
I certainly didn't find this kind of mood on the streets of Tokyo or Shanghai. In Mexico City's communal street culture, food and friendship go hand in hand. There's around 25,000 tacos stands and cafes where people meet and socialise over breakfast, tacos, lunch, tacos, and supper, tacos.
Have you ever eaten grasshoppers?
Grasshoppers? No, I've not eaten grasshoppers. You're going to offer me a grasshopper?
How would you like me to cook some grasshoppers for you?
All right, here we go. Is this them? That's not them. Oh, they're tiny. Do you get the same people every day coming
there are lots of regular customers here, but there are always new faces.
You come to tacos to eat.
Yeah.
But you can make also friends, like we know.
Yeah. People talk politics, or do they talk religion?
Talk about politics and how they are angry with our government.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You're angry with the government?
Yeah, normally. So
it's the same the world over, I say. We read all this stuff about how Mexico is really kind of, violent and there's all these problems and so on.
Yes.
Is that not really true?
Unfortunately, we only get to see a part of the whole thing, But I think we have to define Mexicans. We're all friendly and we're all nice people,
Yeah. Grasshopper tortilla coming up.
There you are.
Gracias. All right, here we go. It's all right. Very nice, actually.
Is it hot? Is it hot?
It's hot. It's garlicky. A bit crunchy. And it doesn't taste like anything else, does it?
But one of the strangest things about Mexico City's street culture happens on a Sunday, which is Dancing Day, Danzón. And in the squares, the killer grannies are on the prowl. It's fantastically sociable in a rather unself-conscious way.
Do you know, Mexico City... Scusi, I'm talking to the camera. See, I was talking to the camera. Scusi, un momento, okay. I've got too many friends. And then, okay, and then, excuse me, perdoni. Such a friendly city. Every time I try to say something, I get pounced on. This is the kind of rich street culture that no commissar, no planner, no town hall could give you. It comes from the streets up, and as a result, despite the crime, despite the mesmerizingly bad traffic, despite the pollution, Mexico City is a friendly, livable place.
And now even old London is getting a twist of this sociability. It's a small trend, really, but it's a very interesting one. The traffic starts to come to a standstill, and the tourists and the shoppers have to look where they're going for once because... the streets are transformed into a mega skate park. This mass gathering of hundreds of skaters is as much about freedom and thrills as about community or empowerment.
One of the best bits in a way is that you, for one day or for a couple of hours, it's the road's ours. It's like we don't stop for no one.
We are the traffic. Yeah. The excitement, the friendship, the fun.
Okay, first of all, I'm Australian. First of all, I'm in London. I'm skating with double-decker buses and taxis. Yeah.
We get to go outside and play on our skates, and that in itself is just exhilarating. Being able to do that, I think we're just very lucky. So, and lucky that we have a city that lets us do it.
Megacities are places that could threaten a decent way of human living, cold and grim and spiritless. Or, if they have enough social mobility and enough warmth and not too much order and grow more like coral reefs composed of little villages, they'll be fine.
The world's great cities are where the world's human future is going to be decided. The choices that are made in these places will dictate whether the future is vile or enjoyable, short or sustainable, free or frightened. The planet has become a series of urban experiments. Tokyo, with its Japanese conformity. Shanghai, still under the thumb of communist bosses. Dakar, mired in corruption for all its exuberance. Mexico City, with its extraordinary extremes of colour and violence. So here's the good news. London, the nearest we have to a megacity, has, Lord knows, plenty of problems. It's got some terrible housing, huge inequalities, transport nightmares. But compared to many of its rivals, it does feel more open, more mixed, more of a genuinely world city. Sometimes you have to go pretty far away to realise how lucky you are back home.